Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the NFL draft is today, less than 2 hours. But you know what's kind of crazy is the 49ers. There's a lot of buzz going around, we know, by Brandon Aiyuk, but now there's some buzz going around Deebo Samuel's name. There's a lot of rumors out there. There's a lot of reports that have been, presented out there today. And, this is typically the case. We're going to hear some news of what's going on as we get closer to the draft. And, we know that Brandon Ayuk, there's been trade rumors like over and over and over and over the last couple of weeks. But today, a few reports came out. This was from Mike Silver about an hour ago. He says numerous teams are reportedly inquiring about a 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel's availability. He said, however, the 49ers would likely have to be blown away by the offer to make the move. Earlier this week, Mike Silver reported that Deebo Samuel was assured that his job is safe with the 49ers. They told him, hey, we're not going to trade you. This was what was reported several days ago. And we all sat there and said, well, of course, Deebo's not even linked to any teams and trades and whatever, but it is draft day. Teams are going to call. It's due diligence season. And today there are lots of teams, according to this report from Mike Silver, that are reaching out for Deebo Samuel to possibly trade him. And then literally about 20 minutes after that, Deanna Rossini from ESPN posted and tweeted out the 49ers have had conversations with teams, including with one team picking in the top 10 of the NFL draft about trading either of their prized wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel, in an effort to move up in the first round. This is her, according to sources. Again, this is Deanna Rossini on Twitter. She says the 49ers have had conversations with multiple teams to move up into the first round as high as 10. As high as 10, ladies and gentlemen. That's a team that they've been talking about. Can you imagine the 49ers trade away Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel? You get a top 10 pick. I don't know what to think, man. Like, you can go get Neighbors. That's a fantastic receiver. You shout, you run to the podium, you draft him, you get a star wide receiver on this team. You lose a guy, but you don't have to pay him as much. I guess that's the only way to look at it. But holy smokes, John Lynch right now might be cooking, ladies and gentlemen. Whoo! Top 10 pick? I don't know, man. This is tough. You save a lot of money. You get a quality player. I do not want to lose a guy like Debo. I don't want to lose a guy like Ayuk, but I mean, Jesus, man. If they really are cap strapped, this might be the move. If they can get a top 10 pick or a top 15 pick, that's probably what it is. And again, in order to trade a guy like Brandon Ayuk or Debo, you need to be blown away from the offer. They said to Debo, we're not going to trade you, right? They assured him. But if someone comes to you and says we can give you two first round picks or a first round pick and a second round pick, you might have to do it. I don't know. This is a tough situation right now. All I know is it's getting close to crunch time. We're going to hear a lot of reports, and I don't know if Debo and Brandon Ayuk are going to stay on this team after today. I mean, one of them might get traded. One of them might get traded. Brandon Ayuk probably has more value, but I don't know now. We'll see how it goes. A lot of teams, according to Mike Silver, are looking in to Debo, and Rossini says the Niners are looking to trade either one of them. It doesn't matter to them. Whoever wants our receiver, you take them, because guess what? They got to pay. And Deebo Samuel has a huge cap hit. So, I mean, that could make the move for the 49ers. Um, whew. I mean, a top 10 pick is a king's ransom. That's a lot of picks. And then if they move Deebo Samuel, save the 49ers, I think about $38, $39 million in cap space. That's a lot of money, guys. And they got to pay Brock Purdy next year. I don't know. And Debo, or Brandon Ayuk, right? If you lose Debo, you can pay Brandon Ayuk immediately. It's going to be interesting. Crazy time to be a 49er, said Charlie Higgins. Yeah, oh my God. What do you guys think? Are we I'm kind of anxious. I don't know. I don't want to lose either one of these guys. But I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Like, this could be a monumental draft again. 49ers haven't had a first round pick in a long time, and now today it looks like they might trade up and get more. I don't know. Brandon Palouse says, I think it's all cap. It could be. It could be smoke and mirrors. Like, usually I'm the one sitting here telling you this could be smoke and mirrors. But I trust both of these reporters, Deanna Rossini, and I would trust Mike Silver. Both of these reporters have been very spot on. And I honestly think that their reports are fact based. I'm pretty sure that they're calling. Again, a lot of teams are going to call right now. It's the draft season. It's the actual draft day. Teams are on the phones. Hey, what do you want for Deebo? Hey, what do you want for Ayuk? Okay, we can't do it. Teams are going to be calling, and they're going to be seeing if teams are desperate. If other teams are like, oh, we got to get rid of this guy. We can't afford him, or maybe we can move up to this guy. I really want to draft this guy. Everybody looks at the draft as a different process. Some teams want to upgrade their players. Some teams want to get younger. Some teams want to shop around and get rid of their older players. So it's an interesting part of the season. I love the draft, man. It's gonna be crazy. Whew. Man, I honestly don't think that Brandon Aiyuk was gonna get traded at all this season. But the last night, since last night, there's like a little bit of doubt creeping in my mind. I don't know. I thought they announced that he's gonna get paid today. I don't know. I think Brandon Ayuk really just wants to get paid. He said he wants to be on the Niners. He loves this team, but I think he also wants to get paid the money he wants to get paid. And I don't know if the 49ers are going to pay him that much money. I think they had a set price, and maybe now they don't have that set price anymore because Amon Ra, right? He got paid a lot of money. So, Devonta Smith got paid last week, and now Amon Ra. The more receiver gets paid, every week a receiver gets paid, the price goes up. Every week it just goes up. You know, I don't know. I still want to say that he's not going to get traded because that's been my take. You want to make sure you keep Ayuk for the benefit of, Brock Purdy in this offense. But then at the same token is like, why would you trade Debo? You know how important he is. And there's going to be a lot of people that say, trade Debo, get rid of him. He's injury prone, this and that and the other. I don't know, man. If you can't replace Debo in this offense, it's gonna be hard to get your plays moving. I know they have CMC. They can find like a very versatile, shifty type receiver in the draft, a guy that could make those over the middle type plays, little slant and goes and wide receiver screens. You can find guys like that, but I don't know, man. Debo's got some special characteristics to him. His personality, he's a leader. It would be tough to see Debo go, man. And plus me, I'm a big Debo guy. That's my guy. So, it would be pretty tough to see Debo go. Be tough to see Ayuk go. Both of them. I hope they don't trade either of them. But it is a business, and we gotta stay tuned. So, JD says some guy on Tom Grossi's show said they were shopping both Debo and Ayuk. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That was Deanna Rossini said they're looking to trade either one of them, and they're trying to get into that first round, top 10 potentially, top 10 potentially. AJ says, "Is this legit?" Deanna Rossini's a very, very credible reporter. I take her word very strongly. I wouldn't be here talking to you if Deanna Rossini didn't tweet this out. Like if it was anybody else, like Joe Blow or Peter Paul and Mary, one of those reports that we see all the time, I really wouldn't care. But this is a pretty good reporter who's known to get a few things here and there. Very good reporter, Deanna Rossini. So it is legit. Mike Silver also reported that teams are looking into Deebo Samuel. So it's, to me, very legit. So let's see. S Flood says the question is: are teams calling the Niners, or are the Niners the ones making the calls? That's a good way to look at it. Who's making the calls? Is it the Niners? Are other teams calling the Niners? It is. It is. Let's take a look at how the report was worded again from Deanna Rossini. She says the 49ers had conversations with teams. They had conversations. So you're right. Who initiated the conversation? Did someone call John Lynch? Did John Lynch call someone? That is interesting. Did John Lynch specifically go out and dial 1-800 sell a receiver? Hey guys, we're looking to trade a receiver. Who? Brandon Ayuk? Don't matter. Debo, Brandon, you pick your poison. We want to get up into the first round. Did John Lynch call him, or did they call him? I'm sure he's getting calls. He always gets calls. But did he reach out? Be interesting to hear that when all the smoke settles and we hear about everything, because we're all gonna know about this in a couple of weeks when we have all the press conferences, and once we figure out what happens, the reporters are gonna ask them, "Did you guys call people?" And we're gonna find out. So, sheesh. Edgar says, "What is the percentage one of the players gets traded? Would it be one or the other, or could it be both players?" That's a good question, too. It could be both. I mean, depending on what the 49ers are looking for, I think the percentage of trading, maybe one of them is higher. I couldn't tell you which one. I mean, I know Brandon Ayuk should have higher value. but I don't know what the NFL values Deebo at right now. Like that's a good question. What is Deebo's value? Is it a first round pick? If they're trying to get into the first round, is Deebo give you a first round pick? I don't know at this point. So that is a good question. Both of them, would they trade both of them? Break up the Yak brothers? They'd have to get two receivers. I don't think they trade both of them. I think they're trying to trade one of them. Either, and to them it doesn't matter. Whoever gets them the value that they want to get the player they need. If they have this guy Peter Smith as their guy, they need a draft, and they're like, we have to get him in the draft. How are we going to get him? Okay, we have to trade Deebo to get this pick to move up. Then that's what they do. If they have to trade Aiyuk to get up and do that, then that's what they do. So it's tough. It's tough to know what they're really thinking of, but I don't think they trade both. I think they trade one or the other if they're going to trade them. So crazy, crazy. Who cares? They'll probably get to the playoffs, but Shanahan will screw it up against the CC. Let's hope you're wrong, man. Math says, I think we trade a top five to get a top five receiver like Malik Neighbors and try to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Or try to get Marvin. Could you imagine the 49ers somehow get Marvin Harrison Jr.? Sheesh. Crazy. Who do you think we pick if we were to move into the top 10? Tackle? Yeah, maybe they get a tackle, but maybe they go get a guy like Malik Neighbors. Like, what if Malik Neighbors is available at 10? You just traded Brandon Aiyuk. Wouldn't you think the Niners are going to go and run to the podium and take Malik Neighbors? I think that's the way I'd play it. If you're trading away Brandon Ayuk, you just took a big hit in your wide receiver department, which the 49ers don't have a lot of depth. If you really think about it, they have a good receiving core, right? Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, Juwan Jennings. Those are really three good receivers. After that, the depth is scarce, right? You have Ronnie Bell, who's young, who's still learning the ropes. You have Trent Taylor, who's a return man, right? You have Willie Snead's been on the team, Chris Conley. Those are some veterans on the team, but nobody can like come in and be a dog right away. Those are all special teamers, backups, not as good as your first three guys. So if you get rid of an Ayuk, I mean, you definitely need to add a receiver to replace him or Debo as well. So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. But Neighbors would be fantastic. Yeah, they got Kittle. I know they got Kittle, but he's also blocking. He's a very big part of this offense. But at the same time, George Kittle's not getting any younger, guys. He's getting a little older. So they also are trying to upgrade the tight end spot. Definitely need to make sure you get a wide receiver if you trade away Ayuk, because if you do that, it's because you don't have the cap space, so you don't think you're going to pay him enough. Or same thing with Debo, you want to open up the cap space so you can pay Brandon Ayuk. You bring in a young receiver to replace him, and then you go and use your 31st pick on whoever else you were going to draft, right? It's interesting. It is interesting. I know we all want him to draft a right tackle, but if you get rid of one of your top weapons on offense, you got to replace him. You got to give your franchise quarterback the weapons that he needs. Jesus. Man. Yeah, Charlie says if the rookie wide receiver is good enough, they play him. BA played his rookie season. It's not a ton. They played his. Yeah, Ayuk played a pretty decent amount his rookie season. His rookie season was weird. It was the COVID year. That year was so strange, man. It was weird, but he did play quite a bit. I remember that was the year he had the jump, the hurdle play, right, and then he had the screen pat or the sweep play against the Giants, and he had a lot more versatile type plays. I remember Dallas Cowboys, he runs like a jet sweep type touchdown. So they used him a lot as a gadget type player when he was still trying to figure out his way on this offense, kind of like Debo. He was a gadget player. I thought he was going to do a lot of those jet sweep type things, but they didn't use him that way as he developed. He became a pure, one-on-one receiver. You can put him outside on the X, you can let him line up, and you can let him use his route tree to open up and get open. So he's become a full type of receiver. So I think teams will covet him. But the question with Ayuk is how good can he be if he wasn't on the Niners? Because the Niners, you got to realize, he is the fourth option. So sometimes he gets man to man coverage. He's going to beat man to man coverage most of the time, right? Because he's so good at running his routes, right? You have Debo, you have Kittle, you have CMC, and it opens it up. Takes a lot of pressure off of him. If he's your one guy and everybody knows he's that guy to get the ball, and you don't have a lot of receivers to take the pressure off of him, and he's getting double covered, how good will he be? That's the question. We don't know. I love Ayuk, but maybe that's the hesitancy that the Niners may have. Like, oh, is he an elite guy? It's hard to gauge it because he's the fourth option. But man, he was efficient, and he put up some numbers. So then in Brandon Ayuk's words, it's like, hey, dude, I was your fourth option. I was probably your best receiver or your best weapon at time. Although they did struggle when Deebo was out. You know, when Deebo's not in, the offense just doesn't click. He only had 3 targets in the Super Bowl, so you can argue all day both sides. I love Deebo. I love Ayuk. They're both good to this offense. They're both vital. And losing either one of them will not be easy to replace. You can go get a really good receiver, but it's not going to be easy to replace a veteran that knows this system like the back of their hand. And they can block and do all the little intangibles that they do. So either way, it'll be tough to lose one of them, but it'll be exciting to see what the hell they do. But yeah, we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy news. We're gonna stay on it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be live today. We're gonna be watching the draft. I couldn't believe when I saw that report. It's like, oh my god, the Niners, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we gonna make a trade? I'm keeping an eye on this, just like you guys are keeping an eye on this. We got to hit refresh millions of times on Twitter tonight. It's gonna be a fantastic day. Let's hope the 49ers don't break our hearts. They've broken them before many times. My heart has been in pieces, shattered on the ground. Let's hope that they don't do it tonight. Let's hope they make sure our hearts are strong and pumping and we're happy at the end of the night. At the end of the night, after the draft, we'll come back and we'll talk all about the draft. So tonight, round 1, tomorrow, round 2, 3, and then Saturday, everything else. And I can't wait. So we'll be live later tonight. If there's any breaking news about Deebo or Ayuk, we'll be live. We'll talk all about that. I can't wait. You guys have a good rest of your day, man. I love you guys. Go Niners. Let's hope they get the draft picks that we want. Because if we won't, we're going to be upset. But you know what? The draft is funny because it's total gamble. It's a crapshoot. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if anybody's going to pan out. And everybody gets mad if they don't get the guys that they want. Oh my God, they should have drafted this guy. People get mad. Niner fans get so emotional. Well, every fan base does. Get so emotionally attached. That's why I didn't do a mock draft this year. I kept thinking about it. And I also I'm busy, but last night I was actually sitting there doing a mock draft. I was like, if I do a mock draft, I'm gonna be pissed off if they don't draft these guys. So I kind of this is the first year in a long time I didn't do a mock draft. It's because people's feelings are all over the place. I just want to see what the 49ers do, and then we can grade them in a couple years when those draft players either pan out or bust out. So we'll see. But you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll be live as the day goes, and we'll be talking about the draft. I love you guys. Let's go. Go Niners.